Well, hello there.
Hey, how long have you been there? You been watching us? Creeper.
You peeping Toms.
You creepers. You bunch of creepers just sitting here watching us fiddle with papers.
Right.
All right, so
Right.
we got to start. Hey guys, what's happening? Ike, Flipside Music.
Dylan, also Flipside Music.
Episode 25.
25. Yeah, we're almost halfway through season 2, right?
We're actually more than halfway. I think we missed a couple. We did miss last week. Sorry about all that.
Well, we're more than halfway through a year, but in terms of the season, weren't we doing like 52 episodes per season, or was that?
Yeah, but I'm just saying we missed a couple.
Oh yeah.
We missed a couple episodes, therefore
Our years stretch.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll just start making numbers up. Hey, welcome to 32. Yeah, all right, we're jumping.
Season 108.
Right. Leap year, bitches. What? I mean, yeah. So what's happening, everybody? Sorry about missing last week. We had some logistical issues. We had some stuff, snowstorms, things happen, whole bunch of crap. So here we are, back again.
Yeah.
For your entertainment and knowledgeable pleasure.
Exactly.
Right.
And footwear concerns, apparently.
Oh, there's footwear concerns? I didn't read it. I never know what's going to happen before it happens. I guess that's everybody in general, isn't it? I never really know what's going to happen before it happens.
Well, yeah,
that's life in general.
Yeah, but in terms of like reading the questions ahead of time,
I really need to work on my show prep.
Yeah, it makes it more fun that way.
Huh?
That way they're getting live reactions to the questions.
Yeah, that's true. We're not faking it. We're not just speeding up. We're not speeding up the answers to make it look like we can answer them faster.
Yeah, and more fluidly.
Right. That's the controversy.
Yeah.
It's the controversy. Aluminium.
Controversy. Aluminium controversy.
I've been watching too much BBC. All right.
Bologna.
Deckles. I think that's Canadian Deckles. And pasta.
Well, the Bologna one always gets me though, because it's like.
And solder. They actually say solder.
Yeah.
I was watching some and they're like, oh, we have to solder this back together. And I'm like, you got to do what? Solder? Okay.
I guess they invented it, so it's fair, but still.
It doesn't matter.
Our sloppy American version is better.
Yeah. Our lazy, sloppy American version.
We'll just edit out these letters.
Yeah. It's like we're just going to run past it.
Right.
That's like a lot of languages, though.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump right into the questions instead of the needless ramblings.
Yeah, because we actually have quite a few questions.
We do. And we're running late, of course. Okay, so Jacob Yergert asks us, have you guys ever had a piece of gear that was the one that got away? I still think about this Shoreline Gold Fernandez Strat that sold the day before I got paid.
Oddly enough,
we had that Strat.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oddly enough, that is the one that I think about. It was that one because that was up until the Ventera.
Such a good freaking guitar.
It was, especially for the money.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an amazing made in Japan Fernandez Gold with. It was almost kind of
like a lace sensor style pickup.
Well, that and like the Shoreline Gold, it wasn't like the full on gold top. It was more. Because there was that, we had that one too. That was a consignment piece. But the one we had was almost halfway between like the natural kind of swamp ash. Pardon me.
Swamp ash. Please, Lord, guitar, the swamp ash is where I shall play my fiddlings.
But it was almost halfway between like gold and like natural swamp ash. So I thought it was a pretty cool one.
Yeah, it was a great guitar.
Yeah.
It played so. It was more Strat than Strat, I thought.
It was, yeah.
So for me, I would say that we had a 76 Vibrolux in here last year, and there was something about it that was just, it really was freaking awesome. Sold it to a friend of ours for a good price, but that was that was one of those ones where I probably should have kept it. Because we've had other Vibroluxes through, we've had other Deluxes through, because it's basically the same circuitry.
Right.
But there was something about that one that just had some freaking magic in it. It felt it was magical.
It did, yeah. It sounded good. It broke up really, really early, which was very surprising.
I mean, it could have been tube situation.
Yeah, because it was like maybe 4 or so, and I mean, it was basically where a Princeton would break up, but it was breaking up, and it had more punch than a Princeton. But,
yeah, it was nice. I should have kept it. Yeah, so that's kind of the one.
Yeah.
That's kind of the one that got away. Everything else,
for the most part, we do pretty good about that here. I mean,
yeah, usually if something comes in, we're kind of like,
yeah. I think
like
for me,
like the FZ2s.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say in terms of New Year, I do kind of feel like we really missed out on the Black Ash when Earthquaker did that.
Yeah.
That was one, like, I even feel like after hearing
But that was just because we, that was just an email bullshit thing that we kind of.
Well, it kind of caught us off guard, and we didn't even get the first email, so it was kind of too late.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, that one was that one I feel like I probably would have really liked. It's hard to tell having not owned it, obviously, but that was one I do feel like it was kind of sad missing out on. But all right,
but there's other stuff that comes in that we grab.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, we try not to do the whole employee grabs the cool shit first thing, but sometimes there's stuff that we just know that doesn't come through very often. That's like, yeah, I gotta take it.
Well, or stuff we've all had our we've all had our eye on. Like when the FC2, those are a perfect example. Like we all know what they are. We like them.
We just had a 78 Distortion Plus come in the other day.
That one was actually awesome.
That one never made it. That one never made it to the anywhere. It came in, and as soon as we got done doing the deal, I put it in my backpack. Yeah. I grabbed that.
Well, that was like a perfect example of one too. So.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. And then the same thing I did with a 65, the Boss 65 Deluxe.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I was thinking about this. What's cool about that? If that one was a 78, that would have been when Van Halen 1 came out, right?
Van Halen 1 came out in 77.
Yeah.
Well, December of 77, so basically 78.
It charted in 78.
But what's cool is, little known fact, is that MXR was in Rochester, New York, for those of you guys that don't know that, and where the factory or where their warehouse or wherever it was right at like Main Street and Goodman Street. Well, I used to live off of Goodman Street, so I grew up like a mile or so away, maybe a mile and a half away from
MXR HQ.
MXR HQ. When they
pretty cool.
When they were back in the 70s.
Well, that would have been when they were still like sending the demo models to Jimmy Page and stuff, because he used to road test all that stuff. That would have been the prime founding years.
Yep, I was a kid.
That's pretty cool.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I was just a wee lad, just a wee little lad.
It always sucks though when that does kind of happen. Like there's been a few things that like I didn't know about until I was older that would have, even around here, that I felt like I wish I would have known about as a kid, or I wish I would have had the enthusiasm for something as that you haven't as an adult. When it was actually around.
Yeah. I mean, back then I was 8. I wasn't thinking about guitar really.
Right.
Not really, because I didn't really start to get into guitar music until I was about 10. So my sister used to listen to a lot of pop stuff. Okay. I have an older sister. She's 3 years older than me, so she used to listen to a lot of pop music. Whatever was on the radio.
70s pop. Yeah.
And 70s and 80s pop, really. And it was until I kind of was playing around with the radio station and found the rock station. And that's what kind of made me go, what? Like, when I first heard, like, rock music, it was, that was it. It was like, oh, holy shit, I'm home. I found my calling. Anyway. Okay, so moving on. Sorry, that was only one question.
I know. All right.
Burned a fuck ton of time.
Well, we'll streamline the other ones. Actually,
Sure we will.
All right, Mr. Colin James. He says lately he's been in the mood to make some instrumental fuzzy noise space rock. So he says he wants an arpeggiator, so he would like for us to suggest him one. I'll be honest, I am not aware of any. I mean, I'm sure there are, so I'll clarify that. I'm sure there are other arpeggiators out there. The only two that I'm really aware of is the Electro-Harmonix one and then the Arpanoid from Earthquaker, which the Arpanoid tends to be like, I don't want to say the undisputed king, but that tends to be the one for that sound. Mm-hmm. Even Jamie from Earthquaker, like he even said that was like the pedal he was most proud of making, but it has an odd application, and so it's not one that necessarily sells a lot, but it really is a pretty awesome, fun pedal. It's weird. It's definitely noisy space rock is exactly what that would do.
Yeah. It's an oddball pedal, but it's
very cool.
It's cool. I mean, there's a lot of pedals, and I've said this before, that we'll listen to. We're like, wow, that's awesome. That's a really cool thing. No, of course.
Right.
We'll never use it, kind of deal.
Yeah, sorry, the other one's over there.
Yeah.
I already did. It doesn't silence all of them.
think I fixed it.
Full cancel.
Yeah, I think I
or just answer cancel.
Yeah, I think I done fixed it.
I found a workaround.
Right.
So yeah, I would say the Arpanoid from Earthquaker. Like I said, I think Electro-Harmonics does have one. I'm sure Boss somewhere in their recesses has got to have one, but it might be something that's in like the GT1000 or something. But in terms of standalone ones, it's not a common pedal. All right, Mr. Coombs. Said question for next week as a follow-up to one of our tangents from last week was what is our preferred footwear on stage?
Preferred footwear on stage?
Yeah, didn't we sort of have that? Yeah.
I don't know. I have a pair of like just black kind of boots.
I like shoes.
Yeah. Well, I don't wear I won't wear like running shoes or hiking boots or hiking shoes or something like. Because I wear those like around the shop or even just in general because there's hiking here, but also they weigh like effing nothing. So I don't like to have big heavy ass shoes on.
I was just gonna say I probably should have something lighter, but I don't know. I grew up in the mountains, so we almost always just had boots on. You just have them kind of year round up there. So I'm just used to always having boots. Honestly, like even I've thought about even like a lighter pair of boots that was not just like the full heavy on work.
Yeah,
boots,
I mean that's what I have is like I got a black pair of they're like 3/4.
Yeah.
They're like a light boot, but they're just black and they look, normal.
Yeah,
I just don't do the whole sneaker thing.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last week. I like Chucks, because for the way everything feels, but other than that, they're pretty much useless. So
yeah, exactly. I do have I have a set that are kind of like Chucks, but they're Morels.
Oh yeah,
so they're actually more comfortable, and that's why I got them because they kind of look like Chucks.
Yeah,
Vans are another one I would wear. I would wear those because they're
a little more substantial.
Yeah, they're more substantial. They're more comfortable. But I don't know. I couldn't wear like a hiking shoe or a running shoe. I think that just looks ridiculous.
And if my boots, like if the heel on them were
rock and roll shoes, baby, that's what.
I was gonna say if my heels on these were any bigger than they were on the boots, I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to.
Frankenstein called. He said he's looking for his boots, Dylan.
These aren't that bad. They're just like I think it's a 1 inch, but anyway, like those. I don't know. I think anything that's comfortable that you can feel the switches is also a plus.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
Moving on.
Mr. Driddle, Chemist ? So I think he's asking us if we like the local Denver band Chemist. They are good. I like them. Ben, the main guitar, one of the main songwriters, guitar players for Chemist, is also his other main band is Glacial Tomb, and our recent hire Nico is actually the other guitar player for that band. So, personally speaking, Glacial Tomb is a little bit more in my wheel. It's almost like if you took some of the best elements of like really doomy stuff, but also like black and death metal, and you kind of just merged it all into one band. So they have like very extreme dynamics, I guess. Whereas I feel like Chemist, sometimes I feel like Ben is kind of, I don't know, like the solos are very, not separate from the rhythms, but like his solos are really good. And then the rhythms are not as complex as sometimes the solos can be. Whereas like with Glacial Tomb, there's, the contrast is a little bit more expected, if that makes sense. Because I feel like with Chemist, they take a lot of the elements of a lot of like the doom stoner rock stuff, and they kind of blend it all together. But then they have like these really great solos, and sometimes the solos almost outweigh the riff too much. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I like them. I'm just gonna be I like them.
Yeah, really. I was just gonna say I think Glacial Tomb, if you haven't checked them out, though, is a little bit more my
Glacial Tomb.
Yeah, I like them, and then actually Nico's band Seva, if you like more of the black metal type stuff, is another one. Honestly, though, his is like if you took kind of elements of like the early Swedish death metal too. He's got like At the Gates. He's kind of got elements of that going on too. So
we're gonna have to get Nico. We'll have to do an introduction for you guys.
We will,
and then get him to answer some stuff too.
Yeah.
Whenever we're all here together to do a thing.
Right. All right.
Moving on. Metalhead Hippie says, Ike, Dylan, what's your take? What?
What's your take on roller nuts?
What's your take on roller nuts and bridges? Hear good and bad things. And does your shop store do any Luthering or repair? If so, what extent? So roller bridges, I only have one.
Yeah, I'm imagining we have them on similar guitars. It would be
I mean, I have mine on,
with the big
on my
speeds.
on my Texas Toast.
Yeah. That was what I was gonna say. With the big speeds, I feel like it's an absolute must.
Actually, I have one on my CMG. My CMG has a roller nut on it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. I like it on the certainly on the CMG. It doesn't really make that much of a difference.
Yeah, that one I thought was a little not funky, but interesting.
Yeah, because it's but on the Texas Toast with that has the Bigsby, it makes a difference.
Makes a big difference.
So
yeah.
that's I'm pro.
They do require a little more. I don't want to say maintenance, but like whenever you do a string change, you should check like each saddle. Yeah, because like they can get if they get hung up, then it starts to defeat the purpose. But I like them because they help compensate for what the Bigsby's doing, and the Bigsby is probably the most like heavy-handed of the trems, or at least of the common trems.
Yeah, because you really gotta kind of.
Yeah, you gotta
work. You gotta work those nuts.
Right. Exactly.
To really get that. Kind of going.
Gotta get that momentum going.
So I say it's all good. Do we do any Luther-ing here at the shop? Yes, we have a tech. His name is Nick. He's really awesome, and basically he'll do everything up to kind of like refinish work. So I mean neck resets. Well, he doesn't do many neck resets, but he does fret levels and refrets and all that kind of stuff. So basically almost everything up until like a refinish type thing.
Well, and yeah, he'll even do.
We have other friends that do that because they have facilities for that.
Right. He'll still even do like body routing for bridge installs. He'll do the Evertune bridge installs.
Yeah, he's an official Evertune installer.
He's also Fender certified, which in this city is, as far as I know, pretty rare. At least as far as I know, in this city, it's not super common. So that's another one that he's certified on, and I'm sure as time goes on, more and more. But yeah, Nick does very, very, very solid work.
Does all the stuff for us, and has a great following just because dude does good work. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so Janice Lala, what's happening? How many pedals on the wall? I was going to count before the thing, and I didn't. Therefore, I don't know.
Rough estimate, at least for this particular wall, is somewhere. Well, it's hard to say because we also have the cabinets right up here.
I think she's just going for the wall.
Just the wall.
400 in 20.
I don't know, because like this space, you can't see the whole space, but basically there's two cabinets right here, and then this wraparound wall. Total, there's somewhere between 726 to like 750 on this side.
Right now, I think in the store we have about 1,000.
Yeah, between new and used. Yeah, we got about 1,000.
Because we just brought in a whole bunch of other stuff. We got a whole bunch of stuff that just came in.
Yeah, including.
And we got these new cool.
Awesome Tisco pedals.
Tisco. These are, the rep came in for these a few weeks ago. And we decided to go with them because we thought they sounded pretty good.
The fuzz and delay are pretty awesome. The fuzz in particular is really, I don't know, very cool spot. That doesn't really remind me too much of anything in particular.
And they're kind of an interesting pedal.
I like the
design
casing.
too.
Yeah.
The casing is pretty.
Well, and it's got
flat,
like,
which is nice.
Well, it's got, I don't know, like the streamlined kind of Japanese vibe, but then it's got a little bit of that 60s flair to it, which is cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But yeah, so we got a ton of pedals. Maybe we'll count for at some point.
The next episode. We'll try to get you a real tally.
I was going to do that, but there again, I didn't really read the question. So, all right, moving on. What's your take on the Rev preamp distortion overdrive purple color versus the Fender Full Moon?
This is a question from RJB. I don't know if we have the Full Moon yet. I've seen videos of it.
I don't think we don't have it.
That might be one that would warrant. I was gonna say that one might warrant a whole video on its own at some point.
Yeah, when we start doing that shit.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have it, so therefore, we may have to come back and.
We'll have to do a follow up on that one.
But the G3 in general is a pretty awesome pedal.
Yeah.
It's definitely got a tight metal, modern metal kind of vibe to it. So if that's kind of what you're into, it's awesome. We've kind of seemed to fall more into the G4 category.
Yeah, the G4 kind of cuts the difference between, like high gain, but also still kind of an old school just
still got a
sound to
classic
it,
rock kind of.
Right.
It got a classic rock, but not like not a vintagey.
Well,
classic
yeah, it's
rock
not like
sound.
full on plexi. It's almost like if you took a very modded plexi and a mesa and you just kind of mushed them together.
Yeah, it's got yeah, I think it works pretty well for both.
Yeah,
for us.
So yeah, we'll have to do a follow up to that one in particular though. All right, Camp Buzzo has, he says, everyone has a main rig. Do either of you have other rigs for different applications? What do you have as like your side rig and why? I mean, I think both of us have done this one. Actually, this might hit the last two questions, really, the Boss Katana. More or less.
All right.
Because basically the next one is from Walking Dead, and he's asking, individually, if we were to build a gigging rig for under 1,000, what would we use? I personally imagine both of us on the amp side of things could get pretty damn far with the Katana.
Oh, yeah.
So after that, I would say then we could put a lot more on the guitar side of it.
I would say, so do we have so what was the first question? Do we have like a main rig and
like
then
a side rig? You probably...
I really don't. I mean, I'm not currently.
No, you have like your main guitar, your main board, and then I would say you do cycle through your amps pretty regularly, but that's not really... You're just kind of still looking for the right...
Yeah, I kind of cycle through some stuff, but I've also been cycling through some different guitars lately too, just to pick up on some different, because I got the Tele Deluxe redone, and I put the Reno Fin P90s in it, and it sounds awesome. It definitely has a P90 vibe, and I really like what's going on. Now that I figured out why my Blues Junior sounds like shit. By the way, don't use a TRS cable.
Well, it's funny. I always wanted to know what would happen there. Now we know, so I guess. But I need to hear it. But
I'll tell you guys the story because I think we got 2 minutes, right? We got a couple minutes. So we were going. I was rushing out to rehearsal. This was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I went into my music room. I know where the cables are, so I just grabbed a cable, threw it in the bag. And I'm always running late. So get to rehearsal, set up, plug in, boom, start going. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with the Blues Junior? It's just muddy. It sounded like shit. And I was like, whatever. We'll get through practice. Crank the treble up, the mid.
Okay.
I cranked up the mids and I cranked up the treble. And I'm like everything. All my pedals had cranked up trebles. And
it's all bright.
Yeah, because I'm like, it's just muddy as shit. And I'm like, I just want to get through this rehearsal. So then I go home, and when I play at home, I usually don't play through like pedal board. I usually just kind of play my electric, but unplugged, or I use the Boss Katana Mini if I'm just kind of practicing along with songs, because it's just I get what I need just to kind of get through a practice.
Yeah.
So then we go to another rehearsal, and I do the same thing. I just grab because now that cable is in the bag.
Right, now it's in circulation.
Right, exactly. So plug it in, muddy again. I'm like, what the? And I talked to my buddy Steve, who does amp repair, and he's like, yeah, maybe it could be maybe a tube going. It's been a bit since we've replaced those. Yeah. So he's like, well, bring it in, we'll do it. And then the other day, Sunday, I was at home, and I was just in a mood. And I started breaking everything out, and I had the Blues DeVille out, I had the Deluxe, and then I was like, let me make sure it's not a pedal that's doing it. Like I finally had an opportunity to figure out what.
Try to troubleshoot it.
Yeah, and go, maybe it was one of these pedals, maybe something, even though I turned all the pedals off and it was still muddy. And I'm like, it's got to be something. Anyway. Finally get it, I'm like, oh, man, what the hell's going on? So I unplug it. And just throw the cable on the floor. And as I'm walking by, I look down and I go, oh, you dumbass. And I realized that when I looked at it on the floor, I could see that it had the two rings.
Yeah.
And then I realized what I did was when I grabbed the cable, I grabbed my foot switch cable for the Katana. For the Katana.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Derp. So, lesson learned, check your cable lens to make sure you didn't grab the wrong one.
That's interesting to me, because I guess I kept thinking if the connection wasn't, like if the jack you were plugging a stereo cable into was mono, it wouldn't have the other part. So it's like, that's interesting though, that means it really, even in a one signal, it's still obviously separating either the frequencies, or it's cutting something out of there. But it's interesting.
It was shit. So of course, let me grab another cable.
Yeah,
plug it in.
It's fine.
Everything was fine. So that's that. A long way around just to tell you guys I'm a dumbass. But yeah, so don't use TRS cables
Don't grab cables in the dark.
Don't grab stuff while you're rushing. So I think the whole question was, do you have a side rig? I don't have a secondary rig currently for anything. Now, if I was doing two separate types of, like if I had a band that was doing 90s rock or pop rock or something that needed, more reverb or needed chorus or trem or all that kind of stuff, and I needed specific sounds, I would probably have that, and then I would have just my little blues rig, which is nothing more than like overdrive.
Yeah.
It's wah, overdrive, maybe a delay if I wanted
I feel like if I had to get by, because this is usually what I practice on at home, is like if I had pickles and the katana, I probably...
It wouldn't most of the way there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be optimal in terms of like switching and shit, but if I had to get by with just those two, I could. Mm. Which is weird for me, because I do run a lot of shit. Oh, yeah, you do. Looks like we're open, so...
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Peace out.
Hi, how's it going there? All right, that's it. We'll catch you guys on the flip side.
How's it going? Good.